Hey, how are you doing? This is Keith. I'm going to be giving you a just a little bit of a kind of a random blog today. This one is not going to be such a lecture. I'm getting ready to deliver my my sort of a speech, which is going to be a little more formulated on what I call supplementarian. So there's going to be a little bit of that in this one. That's why I'm in my kitchen. And I think the first thing I'm going to talk about is the fact that on Sunday night I went to an awesome party of wellness people. It was a going away party for Denmans from the Erewhon Tonic Bar, and then it turned into, he went to Tokyo and did a bunch of stuff, and then turned out he's not leaving LA, so it was a staying in LA party. Nonetheless, got to actually be at a party with lots of wellness people, which was really fun. You know, I met, actually the only regular blogger I've ever physically met. I met Mahanomi, he was there, and aside from that, just the usual sort of people that I see at the Tonic Bar all the time. That's what I called it, the party of the Jing Master All-Stars. Truth Calkins and Denmans was there, and then most of the regulars that I run into all the time were all there. Anyways, so an interesting thing that I'm doing right now is a lot of you ask about what I'm doing from day to day, and a thing that's very interesting right now is I'm really poor right now because I had to invest thousands of dollars into my painting my house, which has been going on for a while. I didn't actually get a contractor. I've been having people kind of help me and stuff, so I'm really poor right now. So you probably, a lot of my subscribers, when you hear some of the things I'm doing, because like at the beginning of 2010 I was experimenting with lots of stuff and probably spending, I don't even know, thousands of dollars, not thousands, but 1,000 plus or $1,000 maybe on supplements for that month, and just experimenting with everything basically that Truth threw at me. I had to try. And so now I'm at my minimal, which is the basic of that. And just so you all know, I discovered in August, I said that I'd eradicated the virus, the HIV virus from my body, which obviously I may have sent it into dormancy because I did test HIV negative at the beginning of the year when I was all excited about that. However, now I'm just keeping the virus under control, and I think I can eradicate it. But I'm not taking meds. I've not been on meds for a year and a half. So the basic frontline thing for that is I do take Cantron. I take that every couple hours. That's like kind of a frontline thing. It's called Protocell is the generic name for it. Then I'm also taking, I take 6 reishis 3 times a day. So I just got this in the mail right now. The reishi Gano 161. So I get 5 of those every, 5 reishi and 2 chaga every like 25 to 30 days as my checks come in. I just got those now. That's $123.56 for me, and I get it at 20% above wholesale. So then the other thing, and I mix those up in that tea thing that I talked about earlier. And so then the other thing that I do all the time is I just got a big shipment of South American herbs. I'm taking Podarco, Cat's Claw. I just got, I think I paid $110 for this shipment from Mountain Rose Herbs. I'm back into the South American herbs. I just wanted to like mess around with those. So Cat's Claw, Podarco, Wira Puma bark, and Katuba bark. So those are all South American. I'm not, according to like David Wolf, I think both of these are kind of considered in the sort of tonic herb. And these, not too sure about these, so I'm only actually going to mess around with them for probably the extent of this. And I'm back to using my big lobster pot because I like having this big vat of tea and drinking it all the time, and with a lot of these you got to boil them down all the time, as opposed to using these little tiny pots, which I went over to doing. And I stopped using this because of the, like, this is like a I won't call it a pet peeve, but something where I realized where I was being kind of not having a wide vision on. A lot of people, or it had been put out that boiling in stainless steel creates some leaching of metals. And there's this great thing where I'm getting more benefits day to day of having this tea all the time as opposed to worrying about that. And I certainly do enough detoxifying of stuff to get that. So, to not worry about it. So I went back to this for the sake of being able to boil a large amount, and some of these you can, like all of these, you can just keep boiling for a long time and get a lot of benefits out of that. And as I showed you in some of my other recipes, you can let this stuff cool down, and then you can make your raw food pâtés and stuff like that with this instead of water, and they actually have a longer shelf life. So, among other things with that. So, the other thing that I'm doing, I did get big time into supplementarianism over the year, and I'm not so heavily doing that right now, although I am. One of my favorites that I do take all the time is 5-HTP. This is one that Truth turned me on to. 5-HTP is actually pretty amazing. It really helps with dopamine and serotonin production, and just really makes you feel good in general, and it really connects. I've been somebody who's skinny all my life, and I actually lost, and I eat a lot. I have a really high metabolism, but I eat a lot, but that has never translated as being fat to me. So 5-HTP actually makes you feel satiated a lot more. And part of the supplementarian thing and some of the stuff that I think is, I think we all eat too much because we're not getting everything that we need, and so the brain keeps saying eat more, and so that eating less thing is actually, that's a pretty unified thing in all schools of wellness, health, whatever, is that eating less equals a longer life. So you know, I'm messing around with that. The 5-HTP. I also take a little bit of taurine, and these are the cheaper ones. I take those every day in my smoothie. For bedtime, before bed, I make that same tea, and I'm using, this is a recipe that Truth gave me, which turned out to giving me 10 and 11 hours sleeps when I'd been for like maybe 20 years of my life. Actually, that's for 25 years of my life, I've been sleeping like 4 to 6 hours. And so after I started this recipe that he gave me in June, I pretty much started immediately, like when I started taking it, I started waking up in the morning feeling really groggy, like I'd maybe like smoked too much weed or something. And then that was right around the time that I actually went hiking up here in the mountains with Truth and Jay, and at my house, and Truth had said, that's because you're so young, you know, and you're used to that, waking up and just like going, which I was. And I think my personality went through a really drastic change with this stuff. So basically the recipe is a half a teaspoon of GABA, and 100 to 200 milligrams of L-Theanine and L-Lysine. And I actually just have this one because it's budget. I usually get this brand all the time, Now brand. So then you mix those, you put those in a warm gynostemma tea with a reishi, and then as many squirts as you can afford of dewdrops. Truth always talks about 10, 12 squirts of this stuff, and of course he likely has a wholesale deal with Ron Tea Garden, Dragon Herbs or something like that. So 12 squirts is what he says. He always, I can't afford that kind of stuff. But this is dewdrops, which is essentially Chinese asparagus root, American ginseng, and a couple of others. But those are the two majors there. And I'll get those in Chinatown instead of getting these, or get them from Shaman Shack, which is a really good source. It's a much higher grade source than Chinatown. And then the other thing is, in that recipe, aside from the dewdrops, some schizandra extraction or schizandra tea, and gojis. And these are all yin Jing things, which means that they help you store energy. Then the extra thing that you add to that is this brand of Mineral Life. I have zinc here, but I'm out of the minerals. In that recipe also is magnesium, 3 squirts, calcium, 3 squirts, and potassium, 3 squirts. And that was a recipe I did for 2 months, and that made me wind up sleeping like a teenager for a long time. And I don't know if I would go back to it, but it definitely equaled a transition in my personality, which a lot of people can see. So the other thing I wanted to talk about was gynostemma tea, because that's a cheapie. That's one that I'm taking all the time. I got that one also from Mountain Rose Herbs. That's in that recipe, that sleep recipe I talked about. Gynostemma tea, you can get it in a box from Chinatown or online. This is better, the gynostemma from Mountain Rose Herbs. They were out of it and they just got it back in. It's 13 bucks a pound. Gynostemma is amazing, and it's easy to overlook because it's very cheap. And I guess we feel like if we pay a lot of money for something, then it's going to be more bang for the buck. So I'm going to read out of this a little bit to go out on the gynostemma tea. This is a book you want to get for sure. The Ancient Wisdom of the Chinese Tonic Herbs by Ron T. Garden. Anybody that's interested in going beyond raw food, this is your first book. This is what you want to do, and you want to you can go to any page and read. You want to definitely go through the first chapter, which really explains a lot of the Chinese system, and then it's fun to just open it and read like I'm going to right now, talking about gynostemma. And I guess one of the big what do you call that, sort of legendary sayings about gynostemma is an herb at a tea price, because it is very cheap. So anyways, here I'm going to read out of this. Gynostemma is probably believed in Asia to be Gynostemma is popularly believed in Asia to be an anti-aging longevity herb. Gynostemma is generally reinforcing to overall health and has a strong anti-fatigue effect. It is also used as a virtual cure-all. Gynostemma is a major adaptogenic herb in the same league as Panax, ginseng, Siberian ginseng, Ganoderma, Schizandra, Astragalus, and if you don't know what Ganoderma is, that's reishi. It was reported in 1972 that gynostemma was used in southern China to successfully treat senile chronic bronchitis. This drew the attention of researchers from around the globe, and Japanese researchers in particular took note. Japanese investigators soon visited China to study the situation. They found that the reports were accurate. Further investigating, the Japanese actually, I'm going to go away from the book now, the Japanese actually, I think, did the most what is considered scholarly research, which means, like, basically, I mean, a lot of the Chinese system is kind of like legend in a way, and I'm sure that a lot of the stuff gets backed up scientifically, but the vastness of the Chinese system, it seems like actually a lot of the gynostemma was perfected in the knowledge in Japan. So anyways, gynostemma, that's like, if you can afford nothing else, you definitely want to get with the gynostemma, and that is one that you are not going to notice the effects of until you know, like you take it a couple of times. It's not going to be like reishi. It's not going to get you all crazy high. So you're going to definitely notice effects after weeks. And I have known about it for a while. And when I got down to the state that I'm in now, where I'm like operating on a budget, that's when I really started noticing the effects of gynostemma. So that's it. I am going to go to my my lecture on supplementarianism, and this is Keith signing out, saying have a great day. Plenty more to come.